Hello, and thank you for joining me again. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? It's a vibrant and magical Halloween cake design idea. So much fun to make, and I can't wait to show my techniques for creating fondant decorations, stripes, and piping borders with you. We'll start with the fondant decorations since they'll need a day or two to dry. I'm using my homemade easy marshmallow fondant recipe here. Cut out a star for the magic wand and then give it some sparkle with this edible glitter. Wand's handle, I rolled out some purple fondant and twisted 2 ropes together and helped them stick together by using a little water at every seam. Here is all you need to get fondant pieces to stick to other fondant pieces. I attached this to the star with a little brush of water, added some edible glitter as well, and then let this dry and harden overnight. We'll start on the broom. I rolled out a piece of brown fondant. This doesn't need to look perfect or uniform. In fact, it's best if it looks irregular. Flattened the end of it and took some of this dark yellow fondant to make a base for my bristles. Using this extruding tool for the fondant bristle, it's a really great way to make many small ropes quickly. Arrange these over the base and secure them with a little water. I just added this to the base I made on the broomstick and then added a little bit more edible glitter to make everything sparkle. I rolled out a small piece of brown fondant to look like the binding piece that keeps it in place. This also was left to dry overnight, at least. Next, we'll move on to the double-sided cauldron topper. This is actually 2 separate toppers that I made inserted back to back on the cake. I'm using alphabet embossing stamp sets to spell out good and witch as well as bad witch on the next topper from my shop. I'm using the 3/4 inch Serif font for witch and the 1/4 inch Marco font for good and bad. If you're looking for more information on these, I'll link them in my description. Next, I'll use the cauldron or pot of gold shape to cut around it, and I'll also cut a second one out, which will be the back of the topper. Match these together using a toothpick and a little brush of water. Again, this part is optional, but I do like to add some edible glitter. Using a sprinkle mix from Sweets and Treats Boutique called Toil and Trouble, which is absolutely perfect for this cake. It has lots of colors, little pink witch hats, little black cats, and these are going to be the potion bubbling out of the cauldron. It's best to add sprinkles to fondant while the fondant is still flexible and hasn't fully dried yet. Add a little water where you're going to put the sprinkle and then actually push the sprinkle into the fondant to help it stick. I'll use a silver edible paint to paint in the embossed text. Also mix up your own edible paint using luster dust or petal dust, gel coloring, and an alcohol source. Very convenient to have some pre-made as well. So move on to the bad witch side. I did this exactly the same as the good witch side, just using black fondant. Lightly using a silver sparkle edible dust. This one I chose a green metallic edible paint. Again, you could certainly make your own. I felt green with the black resembled the Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz. And then we'll let these dry and harden overnight as well. I'll be starting with black buttercream frosting for the stripes. Find all my frosting recipes on my website, and I also have a specific video on making black buttercream frosting on my channel here. Frosting this layer a bit thicker than I normally would. If you want to see my video on how to make smooth buttercream cakes, I do have a separate video on that I'll link in the description as well. Once I have my cake fully covered, I'll be using this stripe comb to scrape and smooth the cake as well as to develop the trenches that the next colors will go in. I do prefer metal combs to plastic as I find they give really nice sharp edges. Add links for some of my recommendations as well. Your time with this, it may take several passes. If you start to see some of your crumb coat in between, that's okay. Go through and fill in any air pockets or bubbles with black buttercream and scrape again with my scraper. When smoothing cakes with the regular scraper, I often give the advice to heat it up under hot running water. I actually don't do this with stripe combs. I keep it at room temperature as I don't want to melt the buttercream and smush the stripes. I'm leveling the top just like I normally do with my angled offset spatula. Once I'm happy with how smooth it is, we'll want to make sure this is chilled really well. My cake is chilling. I've chosen some bright neon colors for inside the stripes, and I'm going to fill my piping bags. You don't need a tip. You could use a round tip or just a coupler if you want to. You just don't need to. I just cut it to the size that'll fit within the teeth of my cake comb, as you can see here. The cake is very cold and firm to the touch. Pipe in the other colors here. You can definitely just choose one color for this. I just had a few different colors in my design. Part doesn't need to be neat or pretty, just keep it inside the trenches created by the stripe comb. Here's what it looks like after piping, and then we'll grab a regular smooth cake scraper or smoother. Again, I do prefer metal. Process does take some time, so be patient. And unlike usual with stripes, I recommend not heating up your scraper. Keep it at room temperature. Make sure you've wiped it clean in between each pass. Getting closer here, soon you'll start to see the black show up on your scraper as well, and that's okay. A few gaps I found here that I'm going to go ahead and fill in and then re-scrape to smooth that out. Once you're happy with your stripes, we'll get this cake back into the fridge to chill it. Next, I added a spiral border with a 1M tip to the top of the cake using that same orange color from the stripes. Any large open star tip will give a similar effect. Squeeze a bit of buttercream at the edge of the cake and maintain even pressure by coiling back over what you just piped. Think about laying each new coil right over the last and continue this around the cake. If you need to pull away to refill your piping bag or adjust your grip, pull the dark cream in toward the middle of the cake, then you can begin piping right back on this tail. And then we'll add some sprinkles. Attach the magic wand and the broom to the front and the back of the cake. Just a little dab of buttercream to hold it in place. Then the toppers were stuck into the top middle of the cake back to back. The wand with the purple cauldron and the broom with the black cauldron. Then I just added some sprinkles with the tweezers here into the buttercream on the side of the cake to look like some magic was coming out of the wand and the broom. Here's what it looked like. If you make this or something similar for your Halloween party, make sure you have a way of spinning it around so your guests can see both sides of the cake. Have you decided if you're a good witch or a bad witch? Thanks very much for watching and happy Halloween!